Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. An outbreak of monkeypox, a rare viral disease, has hit Nigeria in West Africa. The National Center for Disease Control, Abuja, says 31 suspected cases of the monkeypox virus has been recorded in 7 states, but there have been no deaths. It's the first time Nigeria will be experiencing an outbreak of the viral disease. Health authorities are calling on Nigerians not to panic but remain vigilant. Now, this report contains images that some may find disturbing.
31 suspected cases in 7 states. That's how far the current monkeypox outbreak has spread in Nigeria. The National Center for Disease Control gave the latest update after 2 new cases were diagnosed in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial city. The first case of the viral disease was recorded September 22nd in Bayelsa State, and in the last few days, the disease has spread to major cities in the country like Rivers, Ekiti, Akwa Ibom, Cross Rivers, Ogun, and most recently Lagos. But so far, no deaths have been recorded.
31 other suspected cases have been identified, including 2, unfortunately, in Lagos State. Let me say that these 2 suspected cases are currently being investigated in the state. They've not been confirmed, but clinically they reflect what monkeypox shows. But we have to make proper laboratory confirmation. So blood samples have been taken from those cases and sent to the lab.
The affected states have now been placed under scrutiny to unravel why the disease seems to be spreading so fast. Samples have been collected from each suspected case for lab confirmation.
Monkeypox virus, to tell us that it belongs to the pox viruses. And we are familiar with smallpox, which is caused by variola, which we've globally eradicated. It's also related to vaccinia, a virus that we know that we can work with in the lab, which is very mild. And of course, cowpox, which we are familiar with, occurring among cattle. So monkeypox belongs to these families of what we call autopox viruses. And they are carried by animals. So it causes zoonotic diseases. And we can get infection through excreta of animals carrying the virus. And for the human beings to get infected, which means they must have had interactions with animals carrying it.
With many Nigerians still puzzled on how to deal with the outbreak, health authorities say public enlightenment will go a long way to curb the outbreak.
Government should continue enlightenment, public enlightenment, health education, and that apart from monkeypox, there are other viruses that are in the wild animals. We said that we have over 70% zoonotic diseases, which are transmitted from animals to human. So cowpox is one of them. There are a number of all these, and so we need to keep to this hygienic lifestyle. And then, of course, our food should be well covered. If we want to eat at all, we have to wash our hands severally. We don't have to be told this. And then, of course, maintaining cleaning environment is another way of waging war against these wild animals, especially rodents. And then, of course, to those that have to play with monkeys, so they have to be wary of the possibility of those monkeys transmitting the viruses to them.
The National Center for Disease Control has activated an emergency operations center to coordinate the outbreak investigation and response across the affected states, saying the situation is now under control. But some Nigerians are still in a state of panic. The last time Nigerians faced this much anxiety over a disease outbreak was during the 2014 Ebola epidemic, which the country eventually contained.
President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the Nigerian Senate seeking approval for external loans to the tune of $5.5 billion. Buhari's request was contained in a letter read by Senate President Bukola Saraki on Tuesday. In the letter, The president sought to borrow $3 billion and issue $2.5 billion Eurobond in the international market. He explained the bonds would be channeled towards funding of the 2017 budget, while the loan will be used in refinancing of mature domestic debt. The president also said the 2017 budget had a deficit of 2.356 trillion naira. The head of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Maikanti Baru, has again reacted to allegations of corruption and insubordination raised against him by the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku. In his second response in 2 days, Baru said he did no wrong and repeated his argument that the NNPC board chaired by Kachuku had no powers to regulate or approve contracts awarded by the state oil company. He accused Kachuku of citing humongous contract figures to incite the public and described the allegations of award of contract without regard to due process as unfounded and unfortunate. Meanwhile, a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Olisa Agbakogba-San, has sued the federal government over what he described as loop-sided appointments at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. Agbakova made allegations in a suit filed at the Federal High Court, Abuja. In the suit, he is challenging the non-inclusion of the southeast of the country in appointment to the NNPC board. The legal practitioner alleged that the appointment by the federal government contravened the provisions of Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution as well as the Federal Character Commission Act of the country. The Nigerian army has dismissed reports that ISIS militants killed about 30 Nigerian soldiers in the northeast region of the country. The army was reacting to a video reportedly released by the militant showing the execution of some soldiers. In a statement, the army described the report as another media propaganda and an attempt by Boko Haram terrorists to remain relevant and portray seeming potency. It added that a study of the image showed the alleged incident did not occur in Nigeria. The ECOWAS Court of Justice has ordered the Nigerian government to pay $775,000 to the family of a deceased cadet of the Nigerian Army. The deceased El Shaddai Kwasu, a 19-year-old military cadet, died during the conduct of a watermanship training in April 2015. The case was filed by his father, Danladi Kwasu. The court ruled in favor of the plaintiff, saying Kwasu was forced to swim despite the defendant's knowledge that he lacked the ability to do so. The court also ordered an immediate investigation into the matter with a view to prosecuting the officials involved in the violation. Looking at more stories now, Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday met with security heads in the country at the Aso Villa in Abuja. The service chiefs at the meeting include Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishakin, Chief of Army Staff Major General Tuka Veratai, Chief of Naval Staff Rear Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, and the Chief of Air Staff Air Vice Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. The meeting was also attended by the Director General of the State Security Services, Lawal Daura, the Acting Director of the Nigeria Intelligence Agency, Arab Yadam, and the representative of the Inspector General of Police. Others are Minister of Defense Mansur Dan Ali and the National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Mongunu. The rate of examination malpractices in the West Africa Examination WAEC for secondary school leavers has reached an alarming stage. To stem this bad growth, the West African Examination Council Nigeria has organized an international summit on examination malpractices.
Exam malpractice is a form of corruption. You see, if we say, okay, we can't succeed, we can't fight it, and we go to sleep, I'm sure it will go beyond what we're talking about now. It will go beyond that. So we must continue to talk about it. We must continue to let our people know about it. Let our children know about it. That this thing is evil. Let our pastors, imams, preach against it in churches and mosques. And with that, our children will know that this thing is evil.
The summit, which will be coming up on the 19th and 20th of October in Lagos, will have speakers from the 5 member countries, which are Ghana, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Liberia, as well as Nigeria.
Today, you see some first-class candidates. When you talk to them, you see the certificate is first class. But the human being carrying that certificate is classless. What is happening in WAEC here in Nigeria today may be exactly what is, if not more, happening elsewhere. So they also have cases of exam malpractice that they report on.
One person has been confirmed dead following a boat accident in Oworonshoki area of Lagos State. The Lagos State Waterways Authority in a statement confirmed the mishap, saying 19 persons were rescued alive by the agency. The passenger boat, identified as Sea Link, was said to be traveling from Ikorodu to CMS before hitting a submerged object. According to the Lagos State Waterways Authority, an investigation has been launched to determine the cause of the boat accident. The wife of the President, Aisha Buhari, has condemned the poor condition of the State House Medical Center in Aso Rock. Aisha was speaking at a 2-day stakeholders meeting on reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, adolescent health and nutrition in Abuja. She called for a probe into how the budget for the medical center is being utilized.
Even if the budget was maybe 100 million, we need to know the way the budget is spent. And along the line, I insisted, they called Aso Clinic to find out if the X-ray machine is working. They say it's not working. They didn't know that I am the one that's supposed to be in that hospital at that very time. I had to go to foreign hospital, foreigners. I had to go to a hospital that was established by foreigners, in and out, 100%. What does that mean? So I think it's high time for us to do the right thing.
Authorities in northern Nigeria's Kaduna State say more than 20,000 primary school teachers will be dismissed as they fail to pass examination tests meant for their pupils. This is coming amid apprehension that most primary and secondary schools in Nigeria are churning out half-baked students. Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai said 21,780 teachers failed to score 75% or higher on assessment usually given to 6-year-olds. He added that qualified teachers would be employed to replace the dismissed teachers. The Nigerian Postal Service has embarked on a journey of transformation for ease of patronage. The agency has launched a number of innovative and game-changing products to modernize the postal landscape in the country. One of such reform is the NiPost banking system, expected to be operational mostly in the rural areas.
This model is what this year global top 3 in the postal industry, and I'm talking about Switzerland, France, and Japan. And the regional champions, Brazil, Mauritius, Poland, Singapore, and UAE have adopted. Some other African countries like Morocco and Tunisia have already joined the big league. We are indeed getting back on track as we are reinventing ourselves, embracing digitization, redefining our value proposition, and developing new products and services. Let me assure you that the journey of transformation has begun. There's no looking back. Ain't no stopping us. We are going to subscribe to global best practice. And the sleeping giant is no longer sleeping, has woken up, will be alive to its responsibilities and make Nigeria proud.
As at now, most Nigerians live in rural areas where there are no banks. It means they are financially excluded from banking services in whatever form. They don't have banks to save money. They don't have banks to transfer money. They don't have banks to even take credit. So we feel that we could introduce, as it is done in places like China and other developed world, we could introduce what would be called NIPOS Bank. In other climes, they call it Post Bank. But since we have NIPOS here, it will be NIPOS Bank. And what does it do? We can use digitization and ICT to introduce into NIPOS services some form of financial services.
The search for the 2017 WSCIJ Investigative Journalist of the Year is on. Are you a Nigerian journalist or a team of journalists with investigative stories on themes from regulatory failures, corruption in the public or corporate sphere, and human rights abuses in the country? The Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism invites you to submit entries for the 12th Wole Soyinka Award for Investigative Reporting. Categories include prints, radio, television, photo, online, and editorial cartoon. Submission deadline Tuesday, 24th October 2017 by 4 p.m. Winners will receive prizes in cash and kind worth 1 million naira. For the full award criteria and other information, please visit wscij.org. or call 0908-251-5179. Investigative reporting is the vital force for the restoration of human dignity. Wole Soyinka.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the business world with Thelma Okoro.
Thanks, Fidelia. The Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $195 million into the interbank of the foreign exchange market. This comes on the back of the Apex Bank's monetary policy aimed at uplifting the Naira's exchange rate. The bank sold an initial $100 million in the wholesale segment of the interbank. The small and medium enterprises segment received $50 million, while the invincible segment, comprising of tuition fees, medical payments, and basic travel allowances, among others, got $45 million respectively. Oil prices edged up on Tuesday after OPEC indicated there were clear signs the market was rebalancing. U.S. production remained offline following Hurricane Nate and also helped support prices. U.S. crude futures were trading at $49.65 per barrel, while Brent crude futures were up 12 cents at $55.91 per barrel. OPEC has led an effort to cut output to end years of overproduction that created a huge supply overhang in the oil market. It was a bearish market at the Nigerian Stock Exchange today. The market closed in reds for the first time since the beginning of the quarter. Depreciating by 0.15%, the all-share index closed at 36,776.60 with the capitalization at 12,659 as against 12,678 trillion on Monday. 34 equities closed in gains with Flour Mill, Cement Company of North Nigeria, PZ Cussons and Cadbury PLC making the leads, while losers for the day include Lafarge Africa, Nigerian Breweries, C&I Leasing PLC and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings. Those that made the most trade had Diamond, Fidelity, FCMB and Guaranty Trust Banks topping the chart. There were 4,201 deals valued at 3.255 billion in 353.194 volume. That's all on business. More stories coming up. Don't go away.
My people, for Obodo, Nigeria, one infection don't surface in some part of this country where them they call monkeypox. This infection now from bushmeat, especially monkey, rat and squirrel. Now the fluid from this animal, they cause some more. Person will get this infection, will they get fever, headache, back pain, rashes for all in body like chicken pox, but no be chicken pox, now monkeypox. The only way to stop this obonge yamayama infection, now to stop eating bushmeat. I be any bushmeat we don't die, especially monkey, rat and squirrel. Make we try to wash our hand with soap and water before eating any food. Sanitize are good if we get time to wash and regularly. Make all of our health workers they use protective instrument, medicine we fit cure this obonge infection. Never day, but we fit avoid them. The Federal Ministry of Health and the National Center for Disease Control don't put head together to fight this monkeypox. All of that state, make now open eye so that monkeypox no go spread. If you suspect any symptoms of monkeypox, make you quickly rush go any health facility wey near you. Our guy Presido Mohammed Buhari want everybody make we dey kampe so that we go jolly in good government. Health na weto monkeypox. Now we fit chase am comot. Na Federal Ministry of Health bring una this message.
Liberians on Tuesday came out en masse to elect a new president and legislators in a poll that will see the country's first transfer of power from one democratically elected leader to another in more than 70 years. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the continent's first female president, is leaving power after serving 12 years in office. Polls opened at 8 a.m. and closed at 6 p.m. 20 candidates, including the current vice president, former World Footballer of the Year and a model, are running for the country's top seats, with 2.2 million voters registered in the small country of 4.6 million people. Kenya opposition candidate Raila Odinga has withdrawn from the October 26 repeat presidential election. Odinga on Tuesday announced that his ruling mate Kalonzo Musyoka will also not take part in the repeat election. He said his withdrawal would give the Electoral Commission enough time to introduce reforms that will help deliver a more credible election. The Supreme Court annulled the result of the original August 8 election after finding irregularities and declaring it neither transparent nor verifiable. On to sports now. Super Eagles coach Geno Ross says he is delighted with the performance of the national team so far. The German, who was appointed in August 2015, has only lost one of his 10 matches in charge of the team. He has also guided the team to the 2018 World Cup in Russia after a successful qualifying campaign. The German has praised the team professionalism for his players, adding he is excited by their potentials. Spain's sports minister has requested its National Soccer Federation conduct new election as a result of the corruption investigation into former President Angel Maria Villa. Jose Leti, president of the state sports body, made the request through the Spanish sports court. Villa has been president of the National Soccer Federation for 8 consecutive terms. He was temporarily removed from office following his arrest in July, alongside his son Gorka Villa and Vice President Juan Padron on allegations of collusion, embezzlement, and falsifying documents. Former world #1 Andy Murray is expected to return to competitive action at the 2018 Australian Open. This is according to the tournament's director Craig Tiley. Murray has been out of action since Wimbledon in July after suffering a hip injury in the tournament. There is no timeline for his return, but Craig says the Brit has resumed training for the 2018 Grand Slam. Well, that's all the news now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.